Well, hello. It is I, Gumpzilla,
It's me, a damn.
and this is Weekly Wrestling Review. However, it's not that kind of Weekly Wrestling Review. Today's Weekly Wrestling Review, well, I have a story to tell you, Mr. Adam, about Mr. Mo Money Mike,
Do
aka
tell.
Philly, aka Mike Filozoff. And it's going to start with our promotion, the promotion that he had started. But before we get into that, Mo Money Mike, I have a bit of a challenge for you. Now, Mr. Adam over here is willing to go on to your show on your next episode of Fives of the Week. Are you willing to allow him on your show to be my representative for your next episode? Adam, why don't you tell him why you're qualified to be my mouthpiece for this next episode?
To be completely honest, I think I'm 100% qualified. I know you call yourself Mo Money Mike, and you do a good job at what you do. But when it comes to making money, you got to make the right decisions. And like I already mentioned, you call yourself Mo Money Mike, but at this next pay-per-view, if you keep running your mouth, it's going to write a check it can't cash, and you will become bankrupt. So please, just avoid all that stuff that you're hearing in your head, the nervousness,
Hmm.
and let me come on your show and take it to the next level.
Yeah, I think that sounds so good. So the challenge is, are you going to accept my co-host here, my friend, my favorite cousin-in-law, Adam, to be on your next episode, Mo Money Mike? Only time will tell. But let's talk a little story. Let's talk about a little story about Mo Money Mike.
But this doesn't have a happy ending.
No, it's not going to have a happy ending at all. But let's talk a little history between you and I. So when we started, Gumpzilla and Mo Money Mike started off in a promotion called Backyard Wrestling Alliance. Now, little story you don't know, Mr. Adam, about the first time I met Mr. Mo Money Mike. Now, we've been friends since we were kids, since middle school. But now I have a story to tell when we started in BWA. Mo Money Mike, do you remember that we had a tournament and it was for the Backyard Wrestling Alliance Heavyweight Championship? Now, let me tell you, Adam, him and I were in this tournament and I got to the finals. No problem. Got to the finals of the title. Mo Money Mike lost to Mentally Ill. But you see, he was so upset. He was so mad that he was eliminated by Mentally Ill that he had the nerve to interfere in my match. And so he took the title, which happened to become the Revolution title. All right. And we'll get a little backstory on that in momentarily. But he took that title. And you know what he did? He tried to hit Mentally Ill with that title. But Mentally Ill ducked and he hit me in the face with that title and cost me the BWA title. You know, that's been bothering me for years on end. But you know what, though? At the time, I decided, you know what? I feel bad for this guy. Maybe, just maybe, he would be a great tag team partner. Well, let's enter the picture of one Mr. Ferrara. Now, Mr. Ferrara was the commissioner, the owner, co-owner of the BWA. And so, and he was evil. He was an evil man. It was hard to work for this guy. He was always throwing wrenches at Mo Money Mike and I, to the point where he put us in our first ever one-on-one match. It was a no holds barred match. I'll never forget it. One of my favorite matches. But we were in this match. We were forced into wrestling, and he beat me. Totally as clean as it could be. It is what it is, right? So as the story goes, we're put into a triple threat match. It's me, Mo Money Mike, and Mentally Ill. Mentally Ill coming in as the BWF or the BWA champion. So he comes in, and so it's the three of us. The way you would think. And you know what? Once again, I had Mentally Ill. I had him on the ropes. You know who comes and screws me over?
Mo Money Mike.
Mo Money Mike. So now it's like, well, now we're going 2 for 2 here. He screwed me out of winning the title to be the first champion of the BWA. And now he screwed me over again in the second pay-per-view. I'm sensing a pattern here. So Mo Money Mike and I kept our alliance together. I'm like, all right. But things that he didn't know what was going on in the behind the scenes part, involving myself and one Mr. Ferrara. So Mr. Ferrara, when Mo Money Mike was gone, came up to me and started talking to me. He started noticing how frustrated I was. You know, maybe getting a little too I don't know, maybe a little zealous. So he invited me into his office, and behind closed doors we were talking. And he offered me more money. He offered me a chance to redeem myself. He offered me a chance to be what was going to be his new faction. And I was going to be the leader of it. What Mo Money Mike doesn't know is that there was a setup. We were going to set him up. Mr. Ferrara and I had purposely put in, there was going to be in this contract there was going to be a match between him and Mr. Ferrara. And in that contract, there was a quote-unquote loophole. Well, who happened to find that little loophole where the winner becomes full control of the BWA? That's right. It was me. But you see, Mr. Ferrara had put that little loophole in there and handed me that contract for me to show you, Mo Money Mike. See, that night I was going to win the BWA title when I beat Mentally Ill. And Mo Money Mike, in your match for full control of the Backyard Wrestling Alliance, I was going to help Mr. Ferrara. You didn't know that. I was going to. And I was going full on, 100% sold out corporate. But you see, the BWA folded. And it's like, why did the BWA fold? Can't imagine why. Oh, Mr. Mo Money Mike was upset. So Mo Money Mike decides to leave and start another promotion. It was known as Shores Wrestling Alliance. So we had decided, him and I, he called me. He goes, hey, Gumpzilla, I want you to be invested in this promotion come in as a tag team partner for me. We'll make it huge here. So I'm like, okay. You know what, Mo Money? It's okay. I'll come. We're going to invade the Shores Wrestling Alliance. So we changed the BWA name and we changed it to the Revolution and started attacking the Shores Wrestling Alliance wrestlers. And I joined forces with Mo Money Mike. Mo Money Mike still doesn't know what was going to happen. Never came to him of what was going to be. So him and I it became a tag team. We became known as the Rough Riders. And we, oh my gosh. Oh, we raised hell. Mo Money Mike and I became tag team champions. It was the greatest day. Everything that I had, all that anger to Mo Money Mike, everything I had against him was just gone. Because him and I became best friends. I was willing to help him. And we were on top of the world in the tag division. We were even talking about bigger things of going after singles titles while we were tag champs. We wanted to dominate. We were willing to even sell out our Revolution comrades. But then we had our match, our tag match against E&C. And we're defending our tag belts. And we have, oh man, we had them on the ropes. But you know what, though? Something crossed my mind. I had a bat in my hand. And there's C right there. And I swing the bat. And I could, you know what?
What?
I had enough time to stop. But you know what happened? I didn't. And you know why? Because the memory of what Mo Money Mike did to me in the finals of the Backyard Wrestling Alliance Championship came through my head again. And I'm like, you know what? Being tag team champs ain't nothing. I was going to be on top of a promotion. I was going to be the guy. And I would have been the first guy with that title. And it was all taken away from me because of some guy that was all butthurt because he was eliminated in the BWA tournament. Does that sound familiar?
It does.
Mo Money Mike and championship tournaments. Man, 0 for 3. Isn't that funny? So I was Mo Money Mike, I took that bat, and when I hit you over the head, I pretended I was working you with that shocked look on my face. But inside, I was smiling. So then I continued, and him and I had the match in the one of these SWA tournaments to win the SWA title, my first title, which I willingly gave to HH because we would go on and form the NWO. And Mo Money Mike thought we were going to win the tag belts again. Him and I. And HH was going to be the champion. In fact, he was the glue that kept us all together. That brought us back. But you know what happened to HH?
What happened?
Mo Money Mike ran him out of town. Because he decided to have his ego again. Now, Mo Money Mike Mo Money Mike was very jealous of people that he perceived to be uh, a
Better than
challenge to
him?
him, better than him, a challenge to him. He thought he thought he could keep me down. Well, we had a match, another tournament, once again for the SWA title, the vacated SWA title. And he had a match, and I had a match. His match was against CB. How do you think that ended? Not so good.
No.
You know, I won my match. Mo Money Mike didn't.
Not surprised.
And he's in the back and he's whining and he's crying. He's like, "Why? Why? Why did that happen? I'm so mad." And I'm the one having to calm him down. I'm like, "Mo Money Mike, it's okay. I'm gonna get the title. I'm gonna win the title." And sure enough, I went and finally won the title. And so he became my lackey. And we raised hell in the SWA. We raised hell as the NWO. But what people don't know too is that Mo Money Mike, he had a piece of the SWA at at the end. He was the owner of the Shores Wrestling Alliance. And Mentally Ill and Major D, you guys need to listen to this real close. Mo Money Mike decided to close the Shores Wrestling Alliance. He wanted to close it. And do you know why he wanted to close it? It's because his ego of me being the champion and him knowing that he could never beat me, and that I would be the champion forever, ate him up. Unbelievable. So he devised the plan of how we were going to shut down the SWA, and it went down perfectly. So I decided, you know what? I'll take my hand to being at a promoter, and I took a shot at being the with Lakeshore Wrestling. And well, Mo Money Mike, I can admit when I fail. Can you? But there was one shot. You did have a singles title. On the last show of the LSW, you became the hardcore champion. Now, this is where the scheme, the deceitfulness of Gumpzilla comes in. I come into the ring to pretend that I'm his friend, celebrating with my best friend as he won his first singles champion, the Lakeshore Wrestling Hardcore title. And I'm walking in as the Lakeshore Wrestling Heavyweight Champion. And as we're celebrating, he turned his back on me. I saw a chair. I took my opportunity and I hit that man straight in the back and beat him. And the same thing's going to happen in our match over on our last show. Shores Wrestling Alliance die for something. But I'm also going to kill his podcasting career at the same time, while I retain this championship, this title, the SWA heavyweight title, a title that Mo Money Mike has never held because he's not a top guy. And he'll never be a top guy. This championship, which represents everything in our backyard wrestling career, everything that we've been through, blood, sweat, tears. This is what it means. And I've called you out. For 20 years, I've called you out. And you've just, oh my gosh. You would not respond. Knowing how scared you are of me. And I know deep down, you know you're scared of me. And there is that sense of doubt. I could see it on your show. I see it in your eyes. I see it with your body language. You, Mo Money Mike, you are scared of Gumpzilla. And now, after 20 plus years, you're going to see the wrath of what it was going to be like when Mr. Ferrara and Gumpzilla were going to be the greatest combination of owner and champion. Mo Money Mike, you're going to understand what it's like to be a loser. You had a failed rap career. You've had a failed football career. And in the end, because you will never, ever get this title, you're going to have a failed wrestling career too. Mo Money Mike, just remember why you will never be a top guy. And why I will remain the undisputed, unified Shores Wrestling Alliance champion. Ball's in your court there, Mo Money.
In recent years, you failed, and you've picked yourself back up, Mike. This time, in this match, you're not getting up.